Hi everyone, welcome back to Sweet and Scaley. My name's Laura. Today, as you can tell from the video, I want to run you guys through how I set up baby tubs for my new babies, especially because baby season is well and truly here. So I'm going to show you guys how I set up these tubs. So I've got here with me just a 30-litre tub. Obviously I popped some air holes just in the top and around the sides as well. I'm just going to run you through sort of step by step what I do to get these tubs set up and ready for new baby. So step one, obviously you grab your tub, you've got your holes in it, and then what you're going to need to do is actually line the bottom with something. The thing that I like to use is either butcher's paper or brown craft paper like the one I've got here. You can get this pretty much anywhere, like your local sort of newsagents, which is where I got this one from. And the reason I like to use sort of butcher's paper is definitely for hygiene purposes, because when you bring in a new baby you always kind of want to do a bit of a quarantine period, keep them away from your other animals, make sure they're monitored for maybe a month or 2 months. Obviously making sure the enclosure or tub setup they're in is quite sterile. Obviously this is also really great during that quarantine period, because if you are looking for any signs of respiratory infection or mites or anything, you definitely want to stay on top of that, and it's a lot easier to keep things clean when you've got something like this than it is to have something like mulch in there. So very good to use, especially for a new baby setup and pretty much any new animal that you bring into your collection. So the second thing I'm going to put in the enclosure as well is actually just a little bit of loose substrate. Obviously because bluetongues as babies, they generally in the wild like to burrow because that's how they feel secure, that's how they stay away and hide from predators. What I usually use, it's actually really easy to clean as well. I've got a great big bag of wood shavings here, which I just get from my local pet store. It's really great to sort of just pop in there, just a pile of the wood shavings, and then that way you can just spot clean, you can take out the whole pile, or you can even stuff it in their little caves so they feel really nice and secure in there. If you do put it that way, like in their cave on that heated side, it can actually draw them to go and stay over on the hot end, which can obviously, you know, support them when they need to digest things and everything like that. So the next thing I'm going to put in is obviously a little hide. So especially when they're babies, they love to hide, and so caves or anything that they can hide in is really great because they really need that security when they're young, because they're just so tiny. When they're babies, they're like about the size of my hand. Yeah, they're definitely seeking that shelter, so any form of shelter or caves or hides that you can give them, they'll really appreciate that, especially as little ones. So this is the one I'm using here. It's just like sort of a little corner piece, so I'll probably position this one right up against the corner. I do like to pop it up against the hot side, just so it'll encourage them when they do want to go into somewhere that's nice and safe, they'll go over to the hot end to rest and hide. So another little thing that I'm going to pop in there just for an extra bit of enrichment and also acting as another bit of a hide is this PVC pipe corner piece. I'm just going to pop that in there because it adds a little bit of enrichment, and then it gives them something to sort of climb through. It's also really easy to clean, obviously because it's made of PVC. You can sort of just give it a wipe down with some enclosure sanitizer or even just like water and vinegar. Obviously it's a great size because they're only a little bub. They can sort of just climb through. They can even just sit in there the whole time. They'll just use it as if it was like a little tunnel or a burrow that they would in the wild. So last but definitely not least that we're going to use in our little baby tub enclosure setup is a water bowl. So obviously water bowls are really important, got to keep your little baby hydrated. For babies I really like to keep it shallow, just because if they do go in for a drink they need some way to climb out of there. So that's why I like this particular one, because you can kind of see that it's got like little steps there or even just a little ledge, so if they do go in for a swim they can actually get themselves out. But even still with this one I probably won't even fill it all the way just to be safe, but definitely don't forget your water bowl. I need a baby for the ending. Alright everyone, well that wraps up today's little baby tub enclosure setup. I really hope you guys enjoyed, and if you have any questions or follow-ups, please feel free to leave a comment down below. But yeah, so that's sort of my simple little setup. As you can see, it still harnesses everything that the baby will need. It provides them shelter, somewhere to dig. It also has a little bit of enrichment and of course the water bowl. But as you can see as well, it's very sterile, easy to keep clean, so when they're in that quarantine period, you can clean it up really easily. I will sign out today with little mud cake here. You wanna say goodbye, Jelly? Goodbye, everybody.